This is why bad things happen to good people, because they do stupid stuff. Folks, today on the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel, we're gonna fix Jenny, and we're gonna be doing some fencing.
I ain't afraid of work. I ain't afraid of
so heavy.
I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way. I ain't afraid of lying.
Yes, Jenny.
Times like this.
Contact.
If you mess with my freedom, I'll tell you just what you can kiss. That's right.
Oh, it's time to work. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel. Today we're gonna be having some fun. We got some cool toys. Today we're gonna be working on some farm fencing. And what we're gonna be doing is running our hot wire across the top of our woven wire fence. Now, this is gonna be a fun job. It's gonna be an interesting job. You're gonna learn a little bit about knot tying, how to tie this stuff up. You're gonna learn a little bit about wire, the type of gauge wire to use, the Jenny, all the tools, everything that you're gonna need to know. So we're gonna show you this and this and this. Cows will mash on your fence and it will damage your fence. If you're gonna spend the money to put up nice woven wire fence, you need to spend the money to do this. And we're gonna show you all the tools and all the stuff that you're gonna need to get this job done yourself. All right guys, welcome back to the Stoney Ridge Farm Channel. This is your first time here. Thank you for coming. I hope you learned something today. This is gonna be fun. This is a no-nonsense video. Well, I might have a little bit of nonsense. It's supposed to be entertaining and educational, right? So we're on a 150-acre first-generation farm and I can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time, so let me back up to the shop door here. I have to repair my Jenny, my spinning Jenny. This will give you a good idea what a spinning Jenny is, which is kind of fun, I think. We're all here to learn. We're all here to grow. We're a community of people here, and that's why I make content here on social media, here on YouTube. Plus, we get to have fun. So if I screw up, you let me know. If you see something silly, and or if there's something else you'd like to see, let me know. If I've already done it in a video, I'll post it on your comment, and you can learn. We can all learn together. These are the tools of the trade that we're gonna be using today. Right here is called a Gallagher high strain insulator, otherwise known as a bull nose insulator. That's called a bull nose insulator. Pretty cool stuff. Over here, these are Kenco Farm Fence Supplies claw insulators. This is what it looks like. This is what mounts to the post. You'll see me mounting those up. This is something pretty cool. This is called an electric gate activator. We may be installing some of these and showing you guys how they work. We also have in here, and we're probably not going to install this today, but we wanted to show you, this is the insulated wire that you use at a gate area, and we'll show you that. It's pretty interesting stuff. And this is 12.5 gauge high tensile wire, steel galvanized wire. Very, very simple. This machine is called a spinning Jenny, and Jenny is broke. I ran over Jenny with a tractor. Jenny, this is one of the good Jennies, and I shouldn't have ran over it with a tractor. So first thing we got to do is fix this puppy. These are supposed to stand up just like that. We're gonna lubricate all these because when we get ready to put our new roll of wire, and I think this wire roll is a mile long, it's super, super heavy. I'm gonna give it around a 130-pound weight rating. We'll be installing that on top of here. We'll also be using a product called a gripple. I am not a professional, well, I guess I'm a professional fence builder if I'm earning money to show you guys, but I'm not a pro fence builder and I don't tie knots so well. So for the guy or gal who's building their own fence, we are using a product called a gripple. This gripple, they're in this bag right here. Basically, all you do is press your wire into the gripple, and then there's a little release tool that you use to release the wire in case you ever have to take it off. Pretty simple stuff. We just mash it through there and we're good to go. We're gonna be using some other cool tools like Nipex cutters, and we'll have a nice Milwaukee drill to help us out with this project. We're gonna use self-tapping screws, and I'll show you all that in just a moment after I fix this critter right here. Want to make sure it spins freely, lubricated well, and it's ready to rock and roll. So let's fix that first. If you want to jump ahead to the fencing part, I'll put a chapter right there. You'll be able to see the chapters of this. This is a spud wrench and you need it on your farm. If you don't have one, I'll post a link. There's a link to my Amazon store down there in the video description for most everything I use on the farm, if you didn't know that already. I don't want to put WD-40 all in the back of my side-by-side, but tough cookie. I'm gonna do it anyway. This is the Super Soaker 9000 WD-40. Might as well just, hey, let's just stop all the rust, right? And for a little more guided, this is called Gear Hugger Multipurpose Lubricant. It's a plant-based lubricant. I think it just gets a little more sticky in there. I think it does great. It's not vegan. I'm not vegan, and I don't advocate for veganism, sorry. Not my thing. So, gosh, how do we do this spinning Jenny first? Let's take this critter loose with our spud wrench. I think we need a bigger one, don't we? Don't you? This is how the Jenny works. So we loosen that, we slide that critter right over there. Super, super easy. Good deal. Slide that guy in. Guys, I've had the pleasure of working with some of the best fence builders in the world, building this farm and building this social media following here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. I hope you will subscribe. We will learn so much together. It's super cool, and I'm super flattered to have worked with so many wonderful fence builders. We're gonna get this wire up and out of our way first so we don't poke ourselves in the eye. We might have to get some gas on Miss Jenny right here if this doesn't work. I can't slip this off, so it's permanently there, but I can take my spud wrench, tighten it down here, and straighten this part out. Pretty simple. Don't run over your Jenny, especially if it's a good one like this one. Show me somebody that doesn't mess up, perfect human being, and I'll put them on the channel. Okay, we got that portion handled. Does Jenny spin good? I'm gonna lube it up in here. Woo! And I'm gonna pinch my little tube there. Told you I'd do something stupid today. If that's the dumbest thing I do all day, it'd be okay. We need a luber up right there too. It's spring loaded. Yeah, see how it's not doing what I want there. I need a tap, tap, tappy tap. Let me get my equalizer. I can't believe I tore it up that bad. That's better. Let's see what happens here. Don't break a Jenny, Jenny. Jenny, Jenny, what can I say? Oh, daddy, look at that thing spin. Awesome. Okay, this is next project. Hopefully I can tap, tap, tappy tap with the hammer. My brain tells me striking with a downward motion would be much more conducive to moving material. Closer. Just a little bit closer. I need a bigger hammer. Beefcake hammer. Oh, yeah, daddy. Smack! That's exactly what I was afraid of. Jenny kind of broke right there a little bit. I think that's gonna be good. I think that's gonna get us where we need to be. It's just offset just a little bit. Let me loosen this. Make sure it's gonna slide appropriately. Okay. It is gonna slide. A few more love taps, a little more lubricant right in here. We'll de-rustify. I think we're good. Let's talk about Jenny. Jenny is designed to hold this roll of wire. You basically set that roll of wire on here, you slide these guys in, you set this wire on there, and then you tighten it back down. You can leave one of them just fine. So if you take 3 and push them all in, you lay your wire over top, and it sits right in place. You'll see me do that in a minute, maybe. You'll see me do it with this other wire we have. This is probably, I don't know, 250 feet of wire right here, and it's all twangled up, T-twangled up. Oh, there is nothing more frustrating than working with a roll of wire that's blasted out like this. Super, super frustrating and hard to work with, and we're gonna do our best to tighten it back up. Shake, 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 shake. Okay, at this point, I think I need to poke myself in the eyeball. This is why bad things happen to good people, because they do stupid stuff. Bam, good to go. Before we get started, I'm going to show you what we're going to build. This is exactly what we're going to build today. This is going to be fun. We're going to do this line all the way down through here, and here's what we're going to do. This is called a termination knot. We're going to tie a termination knot. We're going to tie a knot around that bullnose insulator with 6 tight wraps right there, and we're going to be installing the XT1 from Stoney. You can see that this doesn't have to be super tight, okay? It doesn't have to be really tight in order to accomplish this. What we need to do is support it up off of our net wire fence and put power to this, electricity to this, and that'll keep the cows from mashing down on the fence. And I'm going to show you where the cows have smashed the crap out of the fence down here, and I should have done this 3 years ago. So this is called a claw insulator. This is a square. We're gonna hang the square right here, very simple. This insulator will be mounted to the post. I don't care if it's a metal post or a wood post, whatever you decide that you're gonna use for your farm fencing. I chose to use all steel galvanized posts from Farm Fence Solutions because this is gonna be a lifetime fence. I didn't want to rebuild it when I was 82 years old. I wanted it to last as long as I last, and hopefully as long as my children, who aren't born yet, last. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our square, and we're basically gonna match it up to the bottom of the wire right here, or the top of the wire. We're going to take and make a little mark with our Sharpie. Super simple, super easy. And now we know where the bottom of our insulator needs to go. Now we're going to take our self-tapping screw, which are right here, and then we're going to tap it in there. Super simple, super easy, except for I have 1,000 of these line posts to do this with. So 1,000 line posts means 1,000 insulators. That is a lot of screws. That's 2,000 screws. Need a magnetic one, really handy, and we'll show you a close-up in just a second of how we do this. But first, I'm just going to knock this one out, match it up to our line. Just that simple. Don't squish it so tight that it breaks it. Makes sense, doesn't it? Always wear your safety gear. Also, so we'll go ahead and get this next one in. There we go. That's it. That right there is going to be good for years and years and years to come. It's a UV resistant product. Now, all we do is take our wire and just lay it in there. We don't have a circle to put it through, so we don't have to run it through. We can run our wire, lay it out on the ground, and then lay that in there. Now, we're going to show you guys how to tie the knot and attach it to the post with the bullnose insulator. Super fun, super simple, and you can go back and watch this over and over and over again and learn how to tie a termination knot. There are a lot of yahoos, quote unquote, for the guy that called me a yahoo. There are a lot of yahoos out there just tying off fence wire by pulling it and going, It doesn't work. It's not sufficient. It is not sufficient. So let's show you how we tie off. Let me show you what I've done so far here. I will show you guys how to tie this knot. Again, this is a termination knot. That's kind of a sloppy termination knot. And this is the bullnose insulator. So first one I did, this is a non-pro fencer versus a guy that does it every single day. That's 6 tight wraps, okay? 6 tight wraps on that bullnose insulator right there. This has been up here for 5 years now, and that's what that knot is supposed to look like. So we'll show you how to do that here in just a second. I'm gonna tie one down on the other end. I wanted to practice once before I went to show you guys. That's it. This will attach to the wire that will run all the way down. That's on that spinning Jenny. Now, thinking about this, this needs to be evenly spaced off of the top of your post. You can see, you can use whatever measuring device you want to use. It's about a thumb width off the post. But before we do that, before we put this up, we need to make sure our wire is all the way up at the top. The cows have really damaged the wire down here and mashed it down. Again, there's about a thumb width. Depends on how big your thumb is, right? So that one's on there. Some of these posts are capped, some of them aren't. You don't have to cap a steel post. This is SS40 steel. It's not grandma's chain link fence. So this is super heavy duty. I'll show you some heavy duty posts. This stuff will be here again for my lifetime and maybe my children's lifetime. Now, you can see the fence is bent. It's bent down in a few places right here. So all the way down, and you're gonna see me doing this. I'm gonna just put a time lapse on. All the way down, I'm gonna pull this fence up and get it straight. If I had done this when I first installed my fence, and I encourage you to not screw up and make the same mistake that I did. If I'd done it when I first built the fence, I wouldn't be over here pulling wire up and I wouldn't have such a mess down here at the end. It is a disaster right now. So let's go ahead, go all the way down the line. I've got my hillbilly tool bag on here, ran through my belt. I've got my hammer, and this is how we straighten out some of our wire. So say we've got a line wire and a stay wire. You just learned something? Yes, I hope you did. That's a line wire, that's the horizontal, and the vertical is called a stay. Sometimes we can't push it over with our hands, okay? You can take a pair of pliers, whatever you want to take, or a little claw hammer like this. Simply tap it over. See how it's got that wave in it? Just straighten that wave out. That's the cool thing about this Merriweather wire. It does an awesome job of being easy to repair. Now we want to make it nice and pretty and keep the stinking cows off of it. Stick around to the end. We're going to show you guys exactly what to do at a gate, because there's a break in the electric wire. There's an electric wire across that fence and one across this fence, but there's a gate right there. We've got to conduct electricity between that gate, and that's where that insulated wire comes into play. We'll talk about it. So here's what the cows have done to the fence. Isn't this awesome? They have mashed it down right here. You see this? This is not the way it's supposed to be. Look over here where it attaches to the post. So the attachment point on the post, and these posts are spaced at 25 feet. It's really, really tight wire. I mean, let me show you just how tight it is. But no matter how tight it is, when you get a 1,600-pound animal rubbing and scratching on here, and the reason they're hanging out here, you see the bare spot, it's shady. This is a shady spot. It gets shady here in the evening. It's shady on the other side in the morning. Guess what happened to the fence on the other side? Same thing. So again, protect your investment. Put this hot wire up before the cows destroy it, and be smart, not like me. Here we go. We got about a 3-foot piece of wire. We're going to go right down the center right here, okay? You want to have enough room on this end that's in your left hand to tie your knot, okay? I messed up just a minute ago and didn't make myself have enough room. Pull it snug. We're going to go under, just like that, okay? Now we're going to kind of tighten, and we're going to fold it back, go back through that hole right there, back in through that hole. We're going to pull it kind of snug to the post. Just like that, okay? Snug to the post. Now, as we're snug to the post, hold it with your hand, bring it in. This is your lazy loop. There is your lazy loop right there. And now we're gonna do 2 tight wraps. There's tight wrap number 1, bam. And this wire is hard, man. Tight wrap number 2, okay? Now, we're gonna put a crank handle on this. Crank handle right back there. Okay, we're gonna back off and we're gonna snap it. Just like so. That creates no sharp edge, and that is a termination knot. It might not be the prettiest termination knot on the planet, but that's a termination knot. That's gonna run that way. Now, on the other end of the termination knot is gonna be our bull nose. Here is our bull nose in my pocket. Now, how are we gonna tie our bull nose on here? We're gonna take our hand, we're gonna go out about thumb length. We're gonna kink our wire, just like so. It doesn't have to be a heavy kink, it just needs to be a bend. Now, we're gonna drop that into the hole in our bull nose, right there. Very simple, cool. Pull that tight, kink it tight. Now for this, we're only gonna do 6 tight wraps. If this were high tensile and we were building a bigger fence, we might consider not doing just 6 tight wraps, but this will be 6 tight wraps. We're gonna pull it snug and we're gonna go 6 times around. So 1, 2, Get better at this as you go. 3, 4, it's a thing of beauty. 5, and you gotta have some strong hands. 6, tight wraps, crank handle, right? And we're gonna crank it back towards us, just like so. Oh, there we go. Bam. That's it. 6 tight wraps, and we're ready to go to run the wire this way. We're gonna do one more for that direction. Actually, we'll just toss that one over that direction. We're gonna do one more to go that direction. Now we're gonna connect these two with crimps, and we're not gonna run this wire today, but we're gonna connect these two with crimps with a piece of wire right here. You could just put an insulator on the outside corner of this post and run it around, but I don't think that's the right thing to do. I'll ask my fencing pros. They may scratch their head and say, why are you doing it that way? You're wasting material. Probably am wasting a little bit of material, but I think it looks better, and I think it's gonna do a great job. Cut yourself a nice long piece of wire about evenly. Once again, we're gonna loop right over top of our post, okay? If this wasn't over the post, we'd go through, or however we need to do this to tie a termination knot. You can also use these insulators to put a belly band in. So not only a top hot wire, but a belly band, one down low. Just so you know, if you got cows rubbing their belly, that's why it's called a belly band, okay? Loop it over, just like this. We're gonna do the exact same thing. This wire in your left hand goes under, okay? Under. We're gonna take our finger, hold this. We're gonna kind of kink it over just a little bit, drop it in, right there, okay? Pull it tight, kind of kink it just a little bit there. Slide it to your post, right? Slide it to your post. Hold it with your thumb, hold it with your finger, however you want to. Again, ergonomics is super important. We're gonna go around with a lazy loop and then 2 tight wraps. Okay. This might be the ugliest termination knot known to man. At the end of this video, I'm gonna post a link, we're making our crank handle, to the best video I have showing you how to do this. Bam, right there it is. We're gonna do another bull nose just to show you how. That's the ugliest termination knot known to man. It's so ugly. Not proud of it, but hey, that's what you gotta do. I can retie this after the video. We're gonna grab our wire again, our termination knot, and we're gonna kink it right here at our thumb, just like so. Nice good kink. Bullnose insulator goes right on, just like so. Okay, there we go. Pull it snug, nice and tight. 6 tight wraps. See if I can do a good job. Hold it tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 tight wraps. Crank handle. We're gonna crank it back towards us, towards the end of the wire, okay? Bam. Ready to go. That'll hold, that'll do. It may not be as beautiful as a guy that does it every single day, but hey, not too bad for a layperson YouTuber, right? I learned this from the pros, guys, and I have a great video out about it that will teach you everything you need to know. Down the hatch, all this wire goes either in the trash can or right down the hatch or in the recycle. Now, same 6 tight wraps is gonna go on this right here. We are gonna run out of wire on that Jenny. So we're gonna run all the wire that we can out that direction, and then we're gonna get our XT1 ratchet strainer and we're gonna put it out there and show you how that works. Now I'm gonna demonstrate a gripple. This is how we attach 2 pieces of wire without tying a knot. A layperson might use this. Typically a professional fence builder may use it, may not use it. Just depends on whether they like tying knots or whether they like using gripples. Pretty simple stuff. The gripple has a hole in each end, and again, this is called the gripple. I do believe they have a lifetime warranty. I'm not positive on that, but we got a line wire coming from this way and we got one coming from that way. This one slides into the gripple just like so, just like that. And then this one slides into the gripple just like so. And that's it. That creates a tight bond right there. Now, if you want to get fancy with it, you can bend this up, you can cut that off, you can do whatever you want to do, but that is the gripple. This will have power on it and will conduct electricity. That's how a gripple works. Pretty cool, huh? Simple way to tie two wires together. Now, when it comes to rounding that corner right there, we will use crimps. Now, when we get to the gate, we'll use a little nut to tighten down on that. We're not going to install the gate section today. I don't have the digging tools, but I'm going to formulate a plan to do that with a Sawzall. I'm going to make a Sawzall blade wide enough to dig a little trench and drop a wire in, but we'll show you at the end. We'll stick around, we'll show you all that. And we'll also show you how we put the ratchet strainer on. I was gonna ratchet strain it together, but I wanna show you the real right way to use the XT1 ratchet strainer. Now we've got our termination knot and our bull nose on that far end, and we've got our termination knot and our bull nose on this far end. We're gonna take Jenny and we're gonna start spooling out wire, and all I'm gonna do is walk clear to the end and I'm gonna tie it. Same thing, 6 tight wraps. Then we're gonna go right back to it. We'll put the new roll of wire on Jenny and we'll pull it up here, use a gripple to slide it together, pull it down here, put on our ratchet strainer and show you how that works. Tie it to our bull nose and do our 6 tight wraps, and we're done with this section. I have 3.5 miles of this to do. Away we go. Gotta reload my Jenny. Always put a nice hook in the end here. Cut that off. We're gonna take this piece of wire, and we've got the other piece way out there. We're gonna be putting a gripple on this, but before we do that, we've gotta stow it. If we let go of it, it's gonna go boing, just like Wile E. Coyote, right? So what we're gonna do is just take it, push it in the ground. Right there, good to go, squared away, and we'll get Jenny all fixed up here. Saw how I worked with Jenny earlier. We're gonna make a little hook on the end of our wire once we get it mounted up here. Oh, that's heavy. Ugh. Now, you understand why I didn't undo just 2. This thing is heavy. It's not that heavy, but it's heavy. Get my curls on. There we go. That's a little rough on the tailgate of the Honda there. Oh, that's funny. Okay, get her nice and centered. Snug it up. Spud. Spud is a good tool. If you don't have a spud wrench, you ain't living right. This thing is awesome for lining up pins. So if you're dropping a pin in on an implement or something like that and you can't get it quite lined up, use your old spud wrench there as a lever to drop a pin in. Okay, Nip-X pliers, cut this guy loose. I see an end right here with a hook on it, already prepared. This wonderful roll of Merriweather wire. I need a pair of pliers. There we go. Here's our end. It's got a hook on it also. I'm gonna cut that hook off the end, drop it in my scrap bucket. I'm gonna grab my gripple end before I pop this loose. Yeah. And put it all together. Okay, make sure it's nice and straight. Grab my gripple. Press together. Press together. Good to go. We're all connected. Now I'm gonna keep on running with it. Let me quickly show you just how easy it is to put this wire in these holders, these insulators. That's it. So when I come up, I just stick it in there and it's in there. If I ever need to take it out, I just take it out. Very cool. Okay, we've got plenty of wire. We're good to go there. This is our XT1, put in the back pocket along with the wrench that we're gonna tighten it down with. And I cut that way, way too long. Way too long. Snug. That's much better. Knipex. If you had just a standard pair of pliers, that would be rough to cut. We're going to slide our XT1 into place here. There's a hole in the end, there's a hole right there. All we're going to do, slip her right through there. This is really good for electric fence because it can continue to be one continuous wire. Isn't that cool? Nice. We're hung up down here. I got to fix that real quick. Be right back. Pull it as tight as I can get it with my hands. And then I'm going to run through my bull nose right here. Same as what we did a little earlier, 6 tight wraps. Right up in there. Nice and snug. Slide that dude around. Bend it in place. Right there. Okay. Put a good kink in there. And then we're gonna do our 6 tight wraps. Make sure you have enough room to do your tight wraps too. It's important. Okay, snug. Ouch. There's 1/2 of a tight wrap. There we go. There's 1. 5. Now I got it. 6. I'm gonna give it a couple extra and poke myself in the ribs. Oh, it got me good that time. All right, that's 6 good tight wraps. Again, back on itself. So make a crank handle, turn it back on itself, pop that wire. Maybe, come on buddy. You got it, there it goes. Pop it. If you cut it with the pliers, with the Knipex, this is a sharp edge. If you break it, there is no sharp edge. Interesting, huh? Okay, now to our XT1. This is our Strain Right XT1. Awesome, made in New Zealand, quality product. We're gonna ratchet this thing by connecting our wrench right on there and just ratchet it closed, and that holds it in place. You can use whatever is on the gator, whatever is on the side-by-side. We've had this discussion before on the channel. We're gonna snug it down, just like so. Okay, how good was that? What, 3 clicks? Hold on, let's give it a couple more just for good measure. There's 5 more. Bam! Now, let's take you to the gate and show you what we do at a gate to continually make this line go. Now, we also need to know that this is kind of up high. It's a little higher than we'd like it. All we have to do is simply slide it down. Tap, tap, tap. And that's why we like pipe fence. Very, very cool. Look at that. If it ain't tight, it ain't right, baby. This is a roll of insulated wire. This wire is designed to go under the ground. It has very thick insulation. See how thick that is? It's designed for exactly what we're doing here, okay? You can get that at Farm Fence Solutions. The way this would work is that we would dig a small trench right here directly underneath the gate, or if we had a double gate right here, we'd probably just dig diagonally. Now you got to think cattle may bunch up at the gate, so you've got to put it deep enough if you're going to put it in the pasture that the cows don't accidentally hoof it out. So we'd connect our wire up right here with a crimp or an electrical connector, and we would run that wire around this, down through here since it's insulated, under the ground, right under the gate, right up the post, right through each one of these little grooves and back up here to tie right into our hot wire again. And that's how we'd connect that hot wire with that hot wire. And that's how it's done. Folks, did you learn something today? Please tell me you learned something. I hope you watched to the end. Thank you all so much. I got some bloopers coming at the end because I made some boo-boos. It's pretty funny. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm channel. Please come back, learn something with me, have some fun, and enjoy this farm with me as we build our first generation regenerative farm here. All grass-fed beef, no meds, no nothing. We treat the sick cow, we don't treat the well cow, and we build a good quality fence. See you next time. Woo! Come on, bud. You want to turn on? You want to be a good GoPro today, don't you? Folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Sound like I got a mouthful of marshmallows. Running with the barbed wire. Yow! Jenny. Never do. Get off of there, brah. There you go, little buddy. Ah! I got hung on the daggone electric fence. Fencing is hard work, man. Those daggone, man, break it down, boy. I'll tell you what. Oh, my God, Becky. I got on that fence, boy. Now I see y'all next time. Woo!